चलो So, do you guys know about scalars and vectors? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Vectors are physical quantities which has magnitude and it has
only have
direction as well. And this only has magnitude. Can you give me 2-3 examples of both?
So scalar की energy.
क्या बोला? Energy,
Displacement is vector.
displacement or
Distance is scalar.
distance is scalar,
Speed is scalar.
distance, speed. So I hope all of you know what I'm trying to say here. Chalo, if I tell you that you have this rectangular figure and these points are A, B, C and D, I will write something, you have to tell me some things about that. There is a person who starts from point A. He moves along this straight line and travels to B. From A to B he goes. Then from B he goes to C. Then from C he comes back to D. And then from D he goes to B. This is the path of the person. Person starts from A, he's walking till B, then walking till C along that line, along that path that is given to you. And D to B will be along this path, moves along this line. Okay. So during this entire path, can you tell me what is the ratio? And all these sides are A. During this entire path, can you tell me what is the ratio of distance to displacement? If you're done, just write your answer in chat to me. You guys should know this. What is it? Three answers.
No.
I received 3 answers. All 3 are different. Oh, 5 answers. All of them are different.
Sir, I missed by mistake.
Chalo, I think that's enough time. When I'm talking about distance, how do we measure the distance? What is distance? Can someone tell me what is the definition of distance?
So the length of the path traveled by.
Right, the length of the actual path traveled, right? Without thinking about the direction, whatever you're traveling, just keep adding that, all of that. That is your total distance. So if you look at from this A to B, if the person is moving in this path A to B, he will travel a distance of A. He has to cover this path A. So A, then B to C. B to C, if he's moving again, he will travel A plus A. Then C to D. C to D is again A plus A. Then D to B. D to B is this path. What is the value of this path?
So a square plus a square under root.
Root 2A, right?
Yes, sir.
Plus root 2A. What is this value? This is
3a plus root 2a.
Plus root 2 into A. Correct? This is your distance for this path. Is that clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Now for displacement, the person starts from A and ends at B. What is your displacement?
Sir, a.
A. So what is this? If I am asking you distance by displacement ratio, what is that? 3 plus root
3
2
plus
A
root 2a by a.
by A. What is this value? 3
3 plus root 2.
3 plus root 2.
Is that fine? Can I change the screen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Are you guys confident in what is distance and what is displacement?
Yes,
Displacement
sir.
is the shortest path between 2 points and distance is the actual path travel. So in this, if you see, if the person is moving along A to B, then B to C, then C to D, and then D to B, you have to add all of those distances, all of those lengths along which the person is moving. Okay. And the displacement is from A to B. You don't have to worry about this entire thing for displacement. Displacement is between the initial and the final point. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Next thing, Do you know about speed and velocity? What is speed and what is velocity?
So
What is
speed is the
speed?
rate of change of distance with time.
Rate of change with time, you don't have to say. Rate of change of distance itself means distance by time. And this is the rate of
Change of displacement.
okay. Suppose if I then there was one more thing. We had average velocity. And what is the difference between average velocity and constant velocity? Can you tell me the difference between average and constant velocity?
So average velocity is total distance by total time. But in the case of constant velocity, the direction and the magnitude of velocity remains the same throughout the time period. Or it covers equal displacement per unit time.
This is what, constant or average?
Constant covers equal
Constant.
displacement per unit time.
Constant velocity is when the object is moving with same velocity. That means if the object's velocity is not changing. When will that happen? That when body is traveling, equal displacement in equal time, right? Equal displacement in equal time, correct? And when I'm saying displacement, I don't have to say that in the same direction, because displacement is with direction. So if some object is moving 1 meter per second to the right, that means let's say the body starts from this point and it moves with 1 meter per second in this direction. That means every second it will cover 1 meter. Every second it will cover 1 meter. And when I'm talking about displacement, it is defined that if the object is moving 1 meter to the right side in 1 second, then in the next second, if it is moving 1 meter to the right side again, then the object has constant velocity. Is that fine? Is that clear to you? ठीक है ना? Constant velocity.
Yes,
Do you understand the difference between constant speed and constant velocity? What is the difference?
So in constant speed, it can go in different directions with the same speed, but in this it cannot.
Yes, the magnitude will be same. Direction can be anything. The object can move up, down, left, right. That is not issue with speed. Is that fine? And what was average velocity?
this is the total distance covered by the total time.
Displacement.
The displacement. I thought average speed, sorry.
Total displacement by total time. If you have some time, if you have some place to go, let's say you start from point A and you want to reach point B, and you start in a car, and this is, let's say, a lot of distance. So you are going in the car and then you stop at some places. Sometimes there was traffic, so you were moving slowly. Sometimes the road was empty, so you were moving fast. So the speed or the velocity during this A and B was not same at every point. So this is not a constant velocity. Here, sometimes it was moving fast, it was moving slow, sometimes it was stopping, and the velocity was different at all the times. But if I ask you what is the average velocity, that means the total displacement that you have traveled in how much time, in whatever time, that total displacement divided by the total time taken to reach from A to B. That is the average velocity for this path. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there were a lot of questions from this topic. I'll just tell you. I'll just ask you. In fact, suppose this point is A, this point is B. I have asked this question in a lot of classes. I don't know if I've asked you earlier. If I have, then you guys should be able to do this. There's one object which starts from point A. It reaches point B with a constant velocity of 50 meter per second. If you know this already, write your answer in chat. Don't speak it. Then this object reaches B. Once it reaches B, it starts moving in this opposite direction with this velocity of 40 meter per second, constant velocity throughout the B to A path. And here A to B, constant velocity of 50 throughout the A to B path. Now my question is, during this A to A part, because the object started from A, reached B, and then came back to A. During this entire path from A to A, what is the average speed and what is the average velocity? Write in chat if you're done.
So like for
Bye,
we should
bye,
find
bye.
the average
Go.
speed from A to B and B to A, right?
A to A.
Okay, got it.
That means A to B and then B to
To
A
A.
for this
Okay.
path. Do this. Write in chat if you're done.
Sir, so from this average speed and
Write
average
how to
velocity,
find the average speed.
sir, from average speed and average velocity, they've asked many questions, sir.
So average velocity will be 0. Because the overall displacement is 0, that's right.
Sir, are you speaking?
Okay. I have received a lot of values, and interestingly, most of you are right. No, few of you are wrong also. Great. Average speed, lot of you have written correct answer. I think you guys know how to do this.
The average velocity will be 0 because the overall displacement is 0.
Yeah.
Correct. Average velocity, I think everyone should be able to see this. It is 0. Why? I told you right now,
So total
average velocity is total displacement by total time. When you're moving from A to B and then B to A again, that means what is your total displacement if you move from A to A? What is the shortest path between A and A?
So
0,
the-
right? You're already at A. You don't have to put any line. You don't have to put any straight line. You are at A. Total displacement is 0, right? Initial position and final position are same. Is that clear? Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Now let's talk about average speed. For average speed, what do we have to calculate?
So like let us
Total
assume
distance,
that the
right?
distance from A to B is x. So therefore
Right,
total
correct.
distance will be 2x.
Okay. So here I told you right now, I did not tell you that you can do this plus this by 2. I never told you that. For average speed, I never told you that you can do u plus v by 2. What I told you is, I told you like average velocity in the previous screen is total displacement by total time. Similarly, average speed should be what? Total distance by total time, right? Like I've written here. Speed is rate of change of distance and velocity is rate of change of displacement. So if you go by that, if I ask you average speed, that has to be total distance by total time. Is that right? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So total distance, if I have to calculate, I don't know that, but I know some speed. So what I can do it, if I assume that this distance is x between A and B, the separation between A and B is x. So the average speed will be total distance. If you're moving from A to B, that is x. Then you're going from B to A, that is one more x. That is 2x, right? And now I
Yes,
have to
sir.
write the total time. From A to B, my distance is x and my velocity was constant, which was 50. So from A to B, can I find the time taken from A to B?
Yes, so
Time
that'll
taken
be
from A to
x
B.
by 50 for A to B and B to A
That's
will
it. That's
be
it.
x by 40.
Correct. X by 50 and this B to A is x by 40, right?
So x by 50 plus x by 40 is the total time.
Is that clear to you how I wrote that? Some people, all of you, x by 50. Only few of you are responding. Is this
Yes,
clear?
sir.
X by 50.
Yes, sir.
Because the distance traveled is x and you're moving at constant speed 50. So for how much time should you move such that your distance become x? So that is distance by speed, right? Constant speed is 50. This is x by 50. Similarly, x by 40. This will be total time taken is what? Time from A to B plus time from B to A. This will give you the result. What is this? This is 40x plus 50x divided by 40 into 50. That is 2000. 2000, right? Right. So what is this value? This is 4000x divided by 90x. Is that right? And then you can cancel this. This is 400 by 9. Is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Can I change the screen over here now? Can I change the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Chalo, one last question I will give you from this kind of questions. Suppose one person is moving from point A. That person moves from A to B. I think I've done these questions earlier also, but few students are new, so you can do this. A to B, if you move in this direction, let's say you are moving with, you guys tell me a value. Kitna? It is
5
moving with
meter per
5
second.
meter per second. And it moves for, kitna bolo? Moves for how much time?
10 seconds.
For 10 seconds. When it is doing that, it reaches B. When the object starts from point A, it moves with a constant velocity of 5 meter per second for 10 seconds. It reaches B. After that, the person wants to go to C, which is, tell me how much far away?
10 meters.
10 meters. From B to C, this is 10 meters. And here the person is trying to move at a constant speed of 10 meter per second. And when it is doing that, person reaches C. After reaching C, person starts moving in the opposite direction. And it moves at a speed of 20 meter per second for 8 seconds. And it reaches D. I hope the question is clear to you. You are at A, you wants to go to B, you move with a speed of 5 meter per second for 10 seconds and you reach B. Once you reach B, you start moving at a speed of 10 meter per second and you reach C by traveling a distance of 10 meters. Once you reach C, you start moving in the opposite direction with a speed of 20 meter per second for 8 seconds and you reach point D. So I don't know where the point D will be. You have to figure that out. So you have to figure the location of point D and then you have to find the average speed for A to D, and you have to find the average velocity for same A to B, A to D, sorry, not B. Is the question
Sir,
clear to you? Yes.
sir, in the question you asked to tell us the location of D.
Yes.
So like, are we supposed to tell at from
Just
like where is it?
just mark the position of point D in the diagram. If it is
Okay,
somewhere
sir.
between A and B, you have to find that out. Is it
Okay,
between
sir.
A and B, between B and C, left of A? I don't know.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Let me know if anyone is done.
So 1 second.
Fine, fine. Just tell me when you're done.
So should we send the answer on chat?
Yes, if you are done. Done with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
क्या है भाई? Point D is left of A. अच्छा. 200 by this. Okay. Chalo. What is this AB distance? Have you
Sir,
calculated?
50 meters. 50 meters.
Yeah.
A is 50, BC is 10. Now, in this, if I ask you when the person is starting from C and it is moving in the opposite direction for 20 meters per second for 8 seconds, where will the person reach? How much will this travel?
Sir, he'll travel 160 meters.
160 meters, right? And it is moving in the opposite direction. So C to A itself is 150. It will travel 10 more over here, right?
So it's just 60, right?
Sir, it's only 60. How is it 150?
10 plus 50.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry. This will be how much? This will be 100, right? 110. 110, no.
It's 100 because
100.
Sir, 100 meters.
Oh, this is 60, sorry. This D will be over here. And this is 160, correct. So this is 50 plus 60, right? This is 100. This is where point D is placed left of A, that to 100 meters. Next thing is, in this, if I ask you, what is the average velocity first?
So total displacement by total time.
What is the total displacement over here?
So 100 meters.
Displacement is, I will say 100 or minus 100. What do you think?
So minus 100.
Why minus 100?
So because it went in the opposite direction.
Because displacement is a
from
vector
A.
quantity and velocity is also a vector quantity. So if it is moving towards the left, when we are saying the person is moving with 5 towards the right, that means we have taken right as positive. If it is given in the question. Now, if the object is moving in the opposite direction, that means it is traveling a displacement in opposite direction. So we have to show that somehow. How do we show that? With a negative sign, right? So here, average velocity,
Yes,
if you are doing, this will be minus 100 divided by the total time taken. What is the total time taken?
So 19 seconds.
19 seconds. 10 plus 8, and here the time taken will be 10 by 10, which is 1. So 90. This is the average velocity. Is that fine? Is the use of negative sign clear to you? Why have I placed the negative sign?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. और बताओ क्या है average speed?
So total distance by total time.
220 by 90.
Total distance
220 by
total
90.
time, which is 60 plus 160, right? Which is 220, and the time is same. So this is your average speed. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can I change the screen here? Anyone who wants to? Now there can be a lot of questions over here that you have to practice on your own, or I can tell you some questions as well if you want. Chalo, one
Is sir's voice breaking for everybody?
Yeah, it's breaking.
Yeah, it's breaking.
audible to you. Am I audible to you guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you don't have any class today?
Sir, we had maths in the morning.
Okay. Just a second. Very little are lost. Okay, try this question. You have this object which is moving in a circular path. It's moving in a circular path. This radius is r. R नहीं है. R value is given as 10 meters. Okay. Question is, this object is moving in this circle at a speed of this speed is given something like this, 20 rpm. Okay, this object is rotating in the circle, and this object's rotation, the velocity at which it is moving, it is given something like this, 20 rpm, and the object is moving in this direction. So the question is, when time is 30, 10 seconds, what will be the average velocity and the average speed? बताओ.
So you can take pi as 3.14 now, sir.
Pi is what?
3.14.
हाँ ठीक है. Or you can
What's
leave it
it?
in pi also.
Okay, sir.
Leave the, don't put the value of pi, you can leave your answer in pi. Can I do this?
Wait, sir. We have to find out the displacement, right?
Average velocity and average speed for 10 seconds.
So
Chalo, that's enough time for this. Some answers I've received as well. This, and this. Okay, let's see. 20 rounds per minute. First of all, we have to figure this out. What does this mean? When it is doing 20 rounds per minute, what does that mean? Every minute it is doing 20 rounds, right? For every 60 seconds, the object
sir.
is covering
20 rounds.
20 rounds. So in 10 seconds, how many rounds will the object do? Can we figure that out first?
200.
Yes, sir.
200?
So
10
2.
seconds.
sir, it'll be
So 2.
Kyun?
no, sir. It'll be 10 by
Oh,
3.
sorry.
20 rounds in 1 minute. What is 1 minute? 60 seconds,
60.
right? How many rounds will it take in 1 second? I think 20 by 60
1 by 3.
in 1 second, right? Is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
That's it.
So what is this? 1 by 3 round each second, right? So in 10 seconds, how many rounds will it cover? 10 by 3 rounds. Is that right?
Yes.
10 by 3, can I write something like this? 3, 1 by 3. Sahi hai kya? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That means 3 complete rounds and 1/3 of 1 round. Is that right? So if you start from here and the question is saying 10 seconds, you found out 3 complete rounds and 1 by 3. So 3 complete rounds will bring you back to the same position. 1 round, 1 round, and 1 more round. During this, you are again at the same point after 3 complete rounds. After 1 by 3rd round, can I say you will be somewhere here and this angle will be 120. Do you understand that? Can I say that? Is that fine?
So how did you get the angle?
1/3 rounds it will take. 3 complete rounds and then 1/3, 1/3 of a round. If it completed one round, the angle would have been 360. If you divide this in 3 parts, then this angle will be 120, right?
Yes, sir.
If it was 1/2, then it will be somewhere here, half the round. For half the round, angle would be 180. For if this was 1/4, that means you're traveling 1/4 of a round. So you will be somewhere here. The angle would have been 90. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So that clear, this angle will be 120.
Yes, sir.
In pi, what can I say? What is this angle for pi in terms of pi? 2 pi/3, right? 2 pi/3, no?
So like it's 2 pi, like the entire circumference would be 2 pi r square. So and r is
2 pi r square. कैसे भाई? 2 pi r square कैसे circumference हो गया?
It's
It'll be
2
2
pi
pi
r.
r.
2 pi r, 2 pi r, right, right, right.
Yeah, you can do that. I was going to do that only. So here, if you look at this now, if I ask you the total distance for 3.5 rounds, for one round, what is the total distance? 2 pi r, right? 2 pi r is the
Yes, sir.
circumference.
Yes, sir.
This is for one round. For 3 rounds, it will be 3 times this, right?
Yes, sir.
Or can I just multiply this into 10/3 with 2 pi r? We are doing 10/3 rounds. So I can just say total distance will be 10/3 rounds. One round, is that fine? Is this thing clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Is my audio fine? Is my audio breaking?
No, sir, it's
It was
fine.
breaking before.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
fine
fine
now.
now? I think there is some delay. I'm not able to hear you properly. Just 1 second. Wait for 1 second.
Sir,
Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So the total distance traveled will be 10/3 into 2 pi r. Is that right? And r value you know is 10. So this
So
is.
you're not sharing your screen.
Oh. Just 1 second. Yeah, here. This distance is this value. Is that fine? I'm saying that for one round it is supposed to be 2 pi r. So for 10 by 3 rounds it should be 10 by 3 into 2 pi r. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So this value is, R value is 10 because the radius is given as 10. And if this is the total distance, to find the average speed, this should be total distance, the average speed, total distance, which is this value, and divided by your time taken, which is 10. So R value is 10 and this is 10, this will be cancelled. This will be what? 20 pi by 3. Is that fine? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
And for average velocity, I have to find what? I have to find this thing, right? For average velocity, I need to find the total displacement. Total displacement is this only, the AB line. Is that right? I don't care about the 3 rotations. It can do 100 rotations also, as long as it is coming back to point B. Then we have to find the shortest path between A and B. That is the straight line, right? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
If I say this point is O, I have to find AB length. Let's say this point is C. If you look in triangle OAC, this angle will be how much? This angle will be 60 degrees, right? Angle AOC. Angle AOC is 60, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Angle AOC is 60. Similarly, angle BOC is also 60. So in AOC, I know this length. This length is something. What? Radius. OA is radius, right? Which is 10 meters. So in triangle OAC, if I have the angle AOC and I know AO length, can I find the AC length? Do you guys know about trigonometry?
So like we're supposed to learn it this year.
You have not done it yet, kya?
So like last year, you did it like very briefly for some problems for us, I think. Like you explained very briefly.
I will tell you the very basics of trigonometry because we have to use it in force anyways. So if you have this triangle, this value is theta. And let's say this is your A, B, and C. If you look in this triangle, what is the hypotenuse? Which length is hypotenuse?
AC.
This is hypotenuse, right? For this angle, the theta angle, which is base?
EB.
And BC is the perpendicular to the base. So in any right angle triangle, if this angle is your theta, or any triangle I can make, if I'm making this triangle, as long as this angle is 90 degrees, if I say this angle is your theta, in this angle theta, which one is your hypotenuse?
So the side opposite to the 90-degree angle.
This is the one, right? Which
Yes.
one is the base?
So the one opposite to
No, the one
So the one
on, not opposite to theta.
on theta.
The angle which is between B and H will be theta, right? Between the base and the hypotenuse, and
Yes.
this will be perpendicular. So this is clear, I hope. Now we have some trigonometric ratios. You will learn them later. I'm just telling you the values of this. In this, if suppose I am given with one thing AC and I want to find the other thing, if you are given with two things, then you can find the third thing using your Pythagoras theorem, right? A is, you can clearly say here, P square plus B square is H square. You know that, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you are given with two things, you can find the third thing using Pythagoras. But using trigonometry, if you know one angle and you know one length, then you can find the other length. How? Suppose this right angle triangle is given to you, and in this we know some value h. Now we have some ratios: sine theta, cos theta, and tan theta. Sine theta is
Opposite upon hypotenuse.
every time this will be this for all the values. Cos theta will be,
Base by hypotenuse.
and tan theta is,
Perpendicular by base.
basically this is sine theta by cos theta. tan theta is sin theta by cos theta. So sin theta is P by H, and this cos theta is V by H. So this is P by B. Okay. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in this triangle now, if suppose something is given to, and we know some values as well. So I'm just going to write this screen as the very basic trigonometric functions. Just copy it like that, such that you can watch it later just to find the basic values of some trigonometric functions. First of all, I told you sine. I told you a few things. This is to remember which value is what. This is the thing, and this value will give you sine theta, this value will give you cos theta, this value will give you tan theta. Now when I was studying, my teacher told me to remember this like this. Sine theta is what? Sine theta is P by H, right? And cos theta is B by H. Tan theta is P by B. So this was given by my teacher, that this is Pakistan bhuka pyasa and Hindustan hara bhara. If that helps remembering this.
Sir, I totally don't know what that means.
Great. This is Hindi. If you don't know Hindi, then just remember it like this: perpendicular, base, and perpendicular,
B by
hypotenuse,
H, B by
hypotenuse.
B.
For people who know Hindi, this was.
Can you repeat it again?
This is Pakistan, which is bhuka means what? I'll just explain this to people who don't know.
Hungry.
Come is like
Pakistan, bhuka is what? Hungry.
Oh.
And pyasa is thirsty. So Pakistan is hungry and thirsty. And Hindustan is hara bhara. Hara bhara is what? Green and filled, like very green. We have all the resources. This is what this means. So this is sine, cos, and tan. Is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Now we have few values, few ratios that we will have to remember. Those values are of sine, cos, and tan. If you remember sine, cos, that is enough. Those values you need to remember at 0, 30, 45. You will do this over and over again in maths this year. Don't worry about this. That means if something sine 0 value is 0. This is 1 by 2. This is 1 by root 2. This is root 3 by 2. This is 1. And this is inverse of this. If you go like this, you start writing from here. 0, 1 by 2, 1 by root 2, root 3 by 2, and 1. These values, basically you have to remember these values, because cos is from this side, and tan, you know, tan is what? Tan is sine by cos, right? So if you do 0 by 1, this will be 0. If you do 1 by 2 divided by root 1 by root 3, this will be 1 by root 3. This will be 1, this will be root 3, and this will be 1 by 0, not defined, right? So we'll say this is infinity. Okay. Note this down, this will be very useful. Okay, done. Can I change this?
1 minute.
Done. Can I change this?
Yes, sir.
If you're done, just let me know this value. Suppose this triangle is given to you, and it is said that this length is, suppose, 20 meters, and it is given that this angle is theta, which is 30 degrees. Using this, I have to find this height and this horizontal distance. What is this value? X and Y. How do I do this? I told you sine, cos, and tan values, right? So in this, if I want to write sine theta, look in this triangle and tell me what is sine theta. It is written on the top also what is sine theta. So in this triangle,
Sir,
what
1
is
by
sine
2.
theta?
Half. 1 by 2.
1 by 2 chodo, from this ratio. In this y by 20, 20 by y, x by y by x, y by 20, like that. What is sine theta?
The y by 20.
Kitna? Y by 20, right?
Y
It
by
is supposed
20.
to be
Y by
perpendicular, which is y, and by hypotenuse, which is 20. So y by 20. Here the angle is 30. This is sine 30 basically, which is equal to y by 20. and sine 30 value is 1 by 2. So you'll equate this to 1 by 2. 1 by 2 equals y by 20. So y is what? Y value is 10.
10.
This value is 10. Similarly, now you have two values, so you can use either Pythagoras or you can still use your trigonometry. In this, if I write cos theta, what will be cos theta?
Oh, sir, it's x by 20.
X by
20.
20. X
Yeah.
by 20 is cos theta. So in this, cos 30 is equals to what? Root 3 by 2. Sorry. So this x value is what?
10 root 3.
10 root 3. Is that clear to all of you? You will, as you will do a lot of problems, this will be very easily fitted in your head. Can I change the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, if I come to the previous question where we are asking about this thing, what is the value of, I want to find A and B. For that, I have to find AC. Now, use that trigonometric equation and find the value of AB if you can quickly in 1 minute. Write in chat if you're done. In this, if you see, I think these values you can find now. If you look at triangle AOC, in triangle AOC, I'm asking you to take AOC angle, which is 60 degree, of course, AOC. If I say this AOC is theta angle, can I write the value of sine theta in this or cos theta in this? What is the value of sine theta in this? In triangle AOC, what is the value of sine theta? AC by OBE, AC by AB, like that. What is the value of sine theta in triangle AOC?
So 60.
Arey bhai, I told you to tell me like the ratio. I told you sine theta is something right perpendicular by
Root.
base, hypotenuse, like that.
So for A or B?
So
For
root 3 by 2.
triangle AOC.
Okay, okay.
For
So
triangle
OC by
AOC.
OA.
Like that, yes. What is it? OC by OA. No.
So it'll
Sine theta
be
was supposed to be
OC.
what?
It'll be OC by, no, it'll be AC by
So
AO.
Sir,
OA by
It's perpendicular
AC.
by
AC
hypotenuse.
by
AC
OA.
by OA.
It's perpendicular by AO.
This angle is 90 degrees. AC by OA, because sine theta is supposed to be perpendicular by hypotenuse. This OC is the base, because base is the angle which is making with the theta. OC is the base for theta and AC is your perpendicular. So if I'm writing your sine theta has to be AC by OA. Is that fine? Is that
Yes.
fine? What is the angle? 60. Sine 60 value is what?
Root 3 by 2.
Root 3 by 2. What is AC value? AC value we have to find. What is OA value?
10.
The OA
10.
value is 10.
So AC is what basically? 5 root 3.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So what will be AB?
So it will be 5 root 3 plus 5 root 3. It will be 10 root 3.
10 root 3. No, AC is 5 root 3. So BC will also be 5 root 3. Add them up, it will be 10 root 3. Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yes, sir.
So the total displacement for this question, to find the average velocity, this will be total displacement, that is AB. by the time taken, which is 10. AB is what? AB is 10 root 3. Time taken is 10. So this is what? Root 3 meter per second. And because it is velocity, we can say it is in the direction of AB. Is that clear? Average velocity will have the same direction as total displacement. Is that right? Both of these are vector quantities, right? Time has no direction. So whatever the direction of AB, the total displacement is, that is the direction of average velocity also, right? Is that fine? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's jump to your next part, which was your acceleration. What is acceleration?
Rate of change
The
of
rate of change of velocity.
Rate of change of velocity. In your, is it possible that your speed is constant, but the object has acceleration?
Yes, sir.
But what is that case?
Uniform
It's
circular
changing direction.
Uniform circular motion. Uniform circular motion. What happens in this? Object is doing circular motion and it is uniform. That means at constant speed, object is doing circular motion. Object is moving in a circle and it is uniform. That means at constant speed, because here the direction is already always changing. When you are at this point, you're trying to move in this direction. The velocity will be tangential to the path. At this point, the velocity will be something like this. Object is trying to move like this. So if you look at this, the object is never moving in a straight line or a constant path. The direction is never constant. So here speed is constant, but velocity is changing. Is that right? Because velocity has both magnitude as well as direction. If the direction is changing, that means the velocity is changing.
Yes,
So if
sir.
velocity is changing, then there's a change in velocity, right? Then there is acceleration. Acceleration is present. And we'll learn what is that acceleration later. Acceleration is present here. So it is possible that acceleration, a body is under acceleration, yet the speed is not changing. Is that fine? Is that clear? There's a difference between speed and velocity. When we are saying acceleration, we are saying rate of change of velocity. If there's a change in velocity, that then we will say the object is accelerated. Here, the speed is constant. The object is always moving with, suppose, 5 meter per second. It is moving with 5 meter per second. The speed is constant, but the direction is not constant. So we will say that because the direction is changing, the velocity is changing, and the object is under acceleration. Is that right? Is this case clear to you? Is that okay? Hello, hello.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Acceleration, we're talking about more acceleration. If I'm saying that one body is having an acceleration of, in this, suppose the object starts from rest and we are somehow giving this an acceleration of 2 meter per second square in the right direction, and this is a constant acceleration. What do you understand by this?
So it means that every second the velocity will increase by 2 meter per second.
Correct. It means that every second, this is 2 meter per second. Acceleration means the rate of change of velocity. That means every second, the velocity is changing by 2 meter per second. And since the acceleration is acting in this direction and the object was at rest, object will start moving in direction of acceleration, and every second its velocity will increase by 2 meter per second. That means for the first second, if the velocity is 2, for the next second the velocity will be 4, and then for the third second the velocity will be 6. Every second the velocity will increase by 2 meter per second. Is that very clear to you?
Yes, sir.
If suppose the object is moving in this direction, this object was there, you saw this object and this object was moving with 20 meter per second. I have not given you any formula, you don't have to use any formula. Suppose this is the case and you are given with two things. First is, in case one, or only one question is there. This is moving like this with 20 meter per second and it is experiencing an acceleration of 2 meter per second square in this direction. My question is, after 15 seconds, what is the velocity of the object? You don't have to use any formula. Just let me know when you're done.
Done, sir.
Done, right? So here, what does this mean? If the acceleration is 2 meter per second square, this means every second the velocity is increasing by 2 meters per second. In 15 seconds, how much will the velocity increase? Every second it is increasing by 2. In 2 seconds, it will increase by 4. In 3 seconds, it will increase by 6. In 15 seconds, how much will it increase?
30.
30 meter
So
per
30.
second, right? It will increase by 30. It was already moving with 20. Acceleration is the change. It will give you the change in velocity. So in 15 seconds, if the velocity is increasing by 30, it is already moving at 20. So after 15 seconds, what is the velocity?
50 meters per second.
Is that clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
In the same
Yes,
question,
sir.
suppose the object was moving like this with 20 meter per second, and it was experiencing an acceleration in the opposite direction, assume, of 2 meter per second. I'm not saying minus in opposite. I'm just saying it is moving in opposite. The acceleration is in opposite direction to the velocity, and that magnitude is 2 meter per second square. My question in this is, after how much time will the object stop? Don't use any formula. If you're done, just let me know. Don't give the answer.
They're done.
Done.
That's
After how much time will the object stop? The time after which the object will stop. So here the object is moving with 20 meter per second in the right direction. What is the time taken for to stop? If you're done,
so 10
10
seconds.
seconds.
what does this mean? It is moving with 20 in the right direction. Acceleration is in the left. That means the object is trying to, the acceleration is trying to make the move or make the object move in the left direction with 2, but the object is already moving with 20 in the right. So first this acceleration needs to cancel this 20. After that it can move in the left direction, right? Every second, what will happen with this velocity? Will it increase or decrease, or will it remain the same?
So it will
It will decrease, right? Every second it will
yes, sir,
decrease
it will
by 2.
decrease.
Every second it will decrease by 2. In 2 seconds it will decrease by 4. In 10 seconds it will decrease by 20, right? That is when the object will stop. Is that right? When velocity will become 0, that is when the object will come to rest, right? Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
So here in after 10 seconds that will happen. Is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then you must be aware of the equations of motion. Can you tell me the equation of motion?
B is equal to U plus AT.
Okay.
S equals ut plus half at square.
Next one.
U
U
square.
square minus U square.
Do you guys know what is the significance of each of these values here? What is the meaning of V?
Final velocity.
Final velocity, right? Or can I say that this is the velocity at time t? That means whatever time value you will put here, this is that velocity, right? Velocity when time is t. Is that right?
Yes.
U is what?
Initial velocity.
Initial velocity. Or can
Initial
I say the
velocity.
velocity when time is 0, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the acceleration? Oh, A is the acceleration, not what is the acceleration. A is the acceleration over here. Then
Yes,
what is
sir.
the S?
So
Displacement.
Displacement.
Displacement traveled, right?
Yes.
Yes.
U again, the things are repeated after this. Is the same thing, right? Can you tell me the sign convention? By sign convention, I mean what is negative, what is positive. Can time ever be negative?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay,
No,
for
sir.
time we don't have to worry. For other things, U, V, A, and S, how do we choose the directions? Like what? When do we take positive? When do we take negative? Do you know about this?
So negative we take if the object is if the acceleration is in the opposite direction.
Okay. Suppose I give you one question like this. You have to use this equation and tell me what is negative. What don't you have to solve this? I'm just giving you a lot of cases. In all those cases, tell me what is positive and what is negative. Okay. Suppose I give you. I'll make a lot of cases here. It is given that the object is moving in this direction with 2 meter per second, and it is experiencing an acceleration in this direction of 1 meter per second square. Tell me what is the velocity after 4 seconds. I'm writing the formula. I'm asking you what is the velocity after 4 seconds. Tell me how do I put these values in this equation?
So A will be negative.
A will be negative.
Wait. One person can speak at a time. Yes.
So A will be negative, U
A will be
positive.
negative. How do we say that? Can I still do this by taking A as positive?
Yeah, so we have to take U as negative because U
That
will
is
be the
correct.
opposite direction.
See, this depends on you, which direction you want to be positive. The object is at this point, it can move in a straight line because for you, we are only doing straight line motion right now. You cannot move up or down. If it is moving towards the right, भाई ये क्या कर रहे हो तुम लोग? Someone's mic is on. Nitin Kumar. Nitin Kumar, are you there? Nitin Kumar, can I remove you if you're not there? I think he left. KLMN. Great. ठीक है. क्या बोल रहा था? What was I saying? हाँ. See, the direction depends on you. If you are taking the U direction as positive, that means you are taking right direction as positive. If you have chosen right direction as positive, then your automatically left direction becomes negative because these are vector quantities. When we are dealing with vector quantities, we have to worry about direction as well. Here, time is a positive quantity, so we don't have to worry about the direction of time. But other things are vector quantity. We have to worry about the direction. So if you have taken one as positive, then other direction will be negative. And you can do the same thing with other also. So if I try to solve using this thing, then right direction I've taken as positive. That means my U is +2. Okay. Since my U is +2, my acceleration is acting in the opposite direction. That means my A is what? -1. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now if I put the equation V is U plus AT, my U value is +2 and my A value is -1. And my T value, I asked you at 4 seconds. This is 4. This is 2 minus 4. What is this?
-2.
What does this mean? -2. What is the significance of -2?
Opposite direction.
It is moving with 2 meter per second in the opposite direction. Is that very clear to you?
Yes, sir.
I can do the same question using different sign conventions. That is perfectly fine, but you have to stick to it. If you have taken this is correct. If you take that, I'm taking this direction to be positive and I'm taking this direction to be negative, because you can do that. Your equation will remain the same. In this, U will be what value now?
-2.
-2. And A is what? +1. Time is still 4. What is this? -2 and +4. What is that? 2. But you took negative as 2. Oh, sorry, negative as right. Sorry, yes. And positive as left. That means the object is moving in left direction with 2 meter per second. Is that fine?
Yes.
So it depends on you. That's totally on you, positive and negative. This will go for displacement as well. If in this question, if I ask you, tell me the displacement in 1 second and the displacement in 3 seconds. Tell me that value. Or 1 second and 5 seconds. Displacement when time is 1 second and displacement when time is 5 seconds. Tell me these values quickly. Done. This I have to use, right? For this, tell me one sign convention that I should use for the first one. You can use whatever you want. If I choose this as positive and this as negative, my U value is what?
Positive.
2, time is 1, A is -1, and T is 1 square. What is this value? This is 2 and
1/2.
minus half, right?
Yes.
So this is 1.5 meters. 1.5 meters in which direction? Right or left?
Right.
Right, no? It's moving from the initial position. When time is 1 second, it is 1.5 meter to the right. Is that okay? And if I use this one, now tell me should I change the sign convention? Basically, in one question, when you're solving the entire question, if you have chosen one direction as positive, you try to stick to it. That even if you're finding V, S at multiple times, whatever you're doing, you try to fix one sign convention and you stick to it for the entire question. Once the question is changed, then you can change it. That is fine. but you try to stick to the same thing. So in this, if I want to take, let's say, this as positive and this as negative, what will be my values? U will be what? -2. Time is 5. Plus half. A is +1. Time is 5. So what will this become? -10. And what is this? Plus 12.5. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
2.5 meter. That means the object has traveled in the left direction, right? So after 5 seconds, the object is placed 2.5 to the left from the initial position. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Can I
Yes,
change
sir.
the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me one thing? When are these when are these equations not valid?
So when acceleration is not constant.
Right. These equations are only valid if acceleration is constant. If your acceleration is changing with time, you can never use this. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Chalo, one more thing I will ask you. Suppose the object is starting with the velocity u. It has some acceleration a in this direction. So after time t, if the velocity becomes v, so this was traveling for a time period t. This time duration was t, and after time t, this velocity becomes v. So my question is, during this path, what is the average velocity? Can you find that?
So here it's v plus u by 2, right?
Correct, right.
So
Here you can do u plus v by 2. How? Because if you write your total displacement, that will be ut plus half at square, right? And the time taken will be t. So the average velocity should be s by t, which is ut plus half at square and divided by t. This will be cancelled. This will become u plus at by 2. If you take 2 common, this will be 2u plus at by 2. And this you can write as u plus at, because 2u is u plus u, divided by 2. What is this? U, and u plus at is what?
t.
V.
So this thing, average velocity, you can only say that average velocity is u plus v by 2 if the acceleration is constant. It is only valid if acceleration is valid. It's constant. If the acceleration is not constant, average velocity will not be this. If you remember the first question we did, where I was told you to find the average velocity for 40 and 50 values, it was not coming out to be 45, right?
Yes, sir.
So there you cannot use it. This one. This one, if you do 50 by 50 plus 40 by 2, it is not 45, right? The average velocity is not 45. So
Yes,
here,
sir.
because the
Yes, sir.
acceleration is not constant, at point B, the object is changing the direction. So the acceleration is not constant throughout. Is that fine? Is that okay? If the object is moving with constant acceleration, then you can say the average velocity will be u plus v by 2. But that is only the case when acceleration is constant. If it is not constant, you cannot use this. Is that fine? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's do some graph things. If I give you, suppose I'm telling you this is one graph given to you. This is a displacement and time graph. And this graph is given like this. What do you understand by this? From the first one, what do you understand? If it's a displacement and time graph and it is given to you like this one, what does this first graph mean?
So the object is at rest.
Object is at rest, correct. Here, if the displacement is given like this, what does this mean?
Uniform motion.
That means the object was placed at some distance away initially, and its displacement is increasing, right? As your time is increasing, the displacement is increasing, right? Object is moving away from the observer. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And here, what is the rate at which the displacement is changing?
Slope of the graph.
Right. It is increasing, the displacement is increasing at constant rate, right? The
Yes.
displacement is increasing at a constant rate. So for here, I can say that the velocity must be constant. Is that right? Even if the velocity is something like this for displacement and time graph, even if I make a straight line, however I make, even if I make it like this also means that the displacement is decreasing with time. As you increase the time, the displacement is less than the initial value. Here the displacement is increasing, but this also is decreasing at a constant rate. Here the displacement is decreasing at a constant rate. तो फिर मतलब कि this is also constant velocity. Velocity is constant, but the velocity is negative. Is that fine? Because the displacement is decreasing, right? That means velocity is negative. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
But it is constant, right? Okay. Now, do you guys know how to find the slope of any curve, if slope of any line? How do we find the slope of any line? Do you guys know that?
So like y equal to mx plus c, or like for 2 points on it.
2 points, wala.
So then it be,
Right.
yeah.
Minus y1 by x2 minus x1.
Right. y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1.
Yes,
This
sir.
is the slope, which is y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. Okay. If I have, suppose I make you a displacement and time graph. Suppose this was your displacement and time graph. This graph is your displacement and this is your time. Let me put some values as well. This is, let's say, 2 seconds. This is, let's say, 8 seconds. And this is displacement. So let's say this is 20 meters and let's say this is 50 meters. Here I can say, because it's a linear graph, the displacement is increasing at a constant rate. For this, if I ask you to find the average velocity, what do we do?
So it'll be 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
No,
Sir, 5 meters per second, right?
5, right. See, during this duration, I'm only asking you what is the velocity for this period between the dots where the curve is there. Curve is not present anywhere else. So here, if I'm asking you that my average velocity for this path, or the velocity for this path, it should be, what is velocity? The rate of change of displacement, right? So can I say this should be change in displacement and divided by the time taken? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So change in displacement, it was already present at this 20-meter mark. Now, finally, it is at 50-meter mark. What is the change?
30 meter.
30 meters, right? The change is of 30 meters. This is plus 30 or minus 30?
Plus 30.
Plus 30, right? It increased by 30. The change is of plus 30. The change in anything is what? Final minus initial, right? So if you look at the change in displacement, it is 50 minus 20, which is 30. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
And this change happened for this period, 2 to 8, which is 6 second rate. What is this? Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Isn't this the slope? Change in displacement. Can I say it is y2 minus y1 only? 50 minus 20 is y2 minus y1, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is 8 minus 2. This is 30 by 6 only, right? So in this graph, what I found? I found that the slope of displacement time graph will give you what? Slope of displacement time graph. What is it giving you? It's giving you the velocity, right? So I will write a few things, and one more thing I can tell you this, if this you understood. From this I can say that the slope of displacement time graph will give you what? The velocity.
Yes, sir.
And what was velocity? Velocity was the rate of change of displacement, correct? Correct.
Yes, sir.
And similarly, acceleration is what? The rate of change of velocity, right? So if I ask you the slope of velocity time graph, what will that give you?
Acceleration.
Is that clear to all of you? Should I repeat this?
No, sir.
Yes or no?
No, sir.
I told you that velocity is rate of change of displacement. And from this, I made the graph and I did some calculations, and we found out that the slope was giving the velocity. So if I go by the definition, acceleration is what? The rate of change of velocity. So by this definition, if I try to make the graphs again, I can do the calculations again, but isn't this visible here that if I write the slope of velocity time graph, that should give me acceleration. Is that right? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So these two things will be very important. Just note this down. Next thing is, if you have, let's say, a velocity time graph, and let's say the velocity time graph, it is given to you that the object is starting from origin, and the graph is given to you like this, and this is traveling for, let's say, 10 seconds, and it is traveling at a velocity of, say, 8 meter per second. Object was starting from origin. If you look at this graph, what do you understand by the motion of the graph, just by looking at the graph? How was the object moving?
Uniform velocity.
Uniform velocity, right? For the 10 seconds, from 0 to 10 seconds, the object is constantly moving at a speed of 8 meters per second. Is that right? So can I ask you, in these 10 seconds, how much will the object travel?
80 meter.
How did you find that?
So area under the graph and V is equal to S by T.
Okay, V is equals to S by T. Is that always?
So it applies when there's no acceleration, like for constant velocity.
Yes. So don't use this V is equals to S by T always. It is only and only valid when there is no acceleration. I have seen a lot of textbooks of not textbooks, your notebooks when you write your tests. You guys when even if there is acceleration, you don't take that into account. If you're asked to find the velocity, you just do the total displacement by time always. Even if average velocity is not asked, you just do that. S by T is only valid when there is no acceleration. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
So here in this, if I'm asking you that the object is traveling with 8 meter per second and it is constant velocity, that means every second the object is traveling 8 meters. Is that right? Is that right? So in 10 seconds, how much will it travel? 80. And 80 meters is what? I think 80 meters is the area under this curve, right? If you find this, this is 10 seconds. And this is what? This is 8 meter per second. If I multiply these two, the unit will be meters and the value will be 80. This will be 80 meters. So from this, I can write one more thing. What I can write is, I can write that area under the velocity time graph. The area under velocity time graph will give us what? The displacement traveled, not the actual displacement, the displacement traveled, or the change in displacement. I'll give you a lot of cases, we'll do that and then we'll move on. Similarly, here what was the definition between velocity and displacement? The velocity was velocity is rate of change of displacement. So from that we said that area under this should be this. Velocity is the rate of change of displacement. Okay. One more definition we have for acceleration, which is the rate of change of velocity. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So here area under some graph will give me something. Can you tell me what should I write? Area under which graph? कौन सा graph है? One more equation I can write. No, one more statement I can write. One statement is this that I wrote using this definition. If you look at this by symmetry, what do you think I should write over this?
So area under the acceleration time graph is velocity.
Change in velocity.
Yeah, change in velocity.
These four things will be very useful. The slope of displacement will give you velocity. Slope of velocity time graph will give you acceleration. The area under VT graph will give you the displacement traveled or the change in displacement. And the area under AT graph will give you change in velocity. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Using
sir.
this, lot of questions can be given. I'll just give you a few questions and ask you a few things. Suppose this is given to you. This is VT graph, and the VT graph is given to you like this. This is a straight line like this, and then this is a graph like this. This graph is given to you, and here some values are given. This value is 10. Sorry. This value is minus 10. This value is 5. This value is 10, and this value is 12 seconds. Seconds. My question is, I'll ask you a few questions. First thing is, what is the acceleration? What is the acceleration from 0 to 10 seconds? Second is acceleration from 10 to 12 seconds, and the net acceleration, A net, during the entire path from 0 to 12 seconds, A net. These are three things. Next is the displacement traveled from 0 to 5 seconds. The displacement traveled from 5 to 12 seconds. And sixth is the total displacement traveled, net displacement traveled. Batao bhai, done with this? Just speak your name and write your answers in chat.
So what's the second question? Like the first.
Acceleration from 10
Okay.
to 12 seconds. 0 to 10 acceleration, 10 to 12 acceleration, net acceleration from 0 to 12. Displacement in 0 to 5, displacement from 5 to 12, and the net displacement traveled. Is anyone done? Okay, you have 3 minutes. Finish this quickly.
Sir, I finished.
Okay. one moment, I will do this.
Sir,
Yes.
when you're telling t at 5, doesn't mean t at, like, whenever the position is at 5, is that 0? Should we count that as like the 0 position, basically, a starting position?
What are you asking? Sorry.
No, sir.
What is it?
When we are taking 5 to 12,
5
at
to 12.
5, yeah. So 5,
Mhm.
5 we should take the starting point, no?
Yes.
Okay, not from 0.
Between
That's
5 to 12, what has happened? Like same thing from 0 to 10, right? So 5 to 12, how much has it traveled during only that duration? Chalo, I think that's enough time.
so wait 5 more minutes. I mean 2 more
5
minutes.
more नहीं भाई, 5
2
more
more, sir.
बहुत ज़्यादा
2
है.
more.
One more. भाइयों बहनों, this is enough time. I will do this now. I'll do the first 4 part first, first 3 parts first, then we will do the next parts. The question is asking you the acceleration from 0 to 10. If you look at this, this is a straight continuous line. So that means the velocity is decreasing at a constant rate from 0 to 10. Is that very clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Velocity is decreasing, right? And because the line is a linear line, I can say that the velocity is decreasing linearly from 0 to 10. Acceleration using VT graph. Should I find the slope or should I find the area?
So slow.
So slope.
Slope, right? For here, what will be my slope? Y2 minus Y1. What is my Y2? 0 to 10. What is Y2?
10.
Minus 10. Y2 is final position, right?
Sorry, okay, why? Yeah.
Y2 minus Y1. The slope is Y2 minus Y1 by X2 minus X1, right? So this is minus 10 and minus Y1 is 10. Time from 0 to 10 is 10 itself, right? What is this value? Minus 20 by 10, which is minus 2 meter per second square, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
if you look at this only by the diagram without doing this maths, you can see that the velocity is 10. After 10 seconds, it became minus 10. That means it decreased by 20, right? It was 10. First it will become 0. Then it will become minus 10. That means 10 in the opposite direction. So can I say that the velocity decreased by 20? Is that fine?
Yes, sir, you can say that.
Minus 20 decreased by 20. So minus 20 in 10 seconds. So minus 20 by 10. Is that right? This is the constant acceleration. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So acceleration from 0 to 10 is this. Acceleration from 10 to 12. What will that value be? Again, 10 is your initial in this case. 12 is your final. So when I'm writing the slope for this, what will be my slope for this?
Sir, it will be minus, final will be 0.
Final will be 0. Y2 is final 0, correct? Which is 0 minus,
Minus of minus 10.
right? And divided by
X2 minus X1. So
2.
X, yeah.
Is that fine?
Yes, sir. 12 minus 10.
So what is this value? 5, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Or you can see here also, right? The velocity became 0 from minus 10. Can I say it increased by 10? It increased by 10 at a constant rate in 2 seconds. So can I say 10 by 2? In 2 seconds, it increased by 10. So every second it is increasing by 5, right? Is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
This is minus 2. This is 5. A net, the net acceleration from 0 to 12, like average velocity and average speed, you have A net. A net will be what? The total change in velocity by the time. The total change in velocity by the time, like you had total displacement by total time, right? So this average A net will be, or the average acceleration will be, basically this question should have been average velocity from, average acceleration from 0 to 12. A average. Okay, if this is the case here, you only have to worry about the total change. Total change is what? Total change is of 0 minus 10, right? Because finally it is becoming 0. 0 minus 10. Initially 12. Is that clear? This is minus 10 by 12 meter per second square.
So is there any difference between A net and A average?
It was supposed to be the net acceleration from 0 to 10, because but we did that using your average velocity, right? Total displacement by total time. That's why I put it as average. A net and A average will be same.
So like I didn't get it. So like A net and A average are the same, right? Or
Same
are
thing,
they
I
both-
just wrote this as average just so you know that when we are doing average velocity, it
Yeah,
was
got it.
total displacement traveled, right? Here, average acceleration will be the total change in velocity from
Yes.
whichever period they are asking. Okay. Is that clear? These three things are clear to you or not?
Yes, sir.
Others, only one or two people are responding. Are you
Yes,
getting
sir.
this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The displacement traveled from 0 to 5. So 0 to 5, what is the displacement traveled? Using a VT graph, how do I find the displacement traveled?
So it's the area under the graph.
The area under the graph. So basically this area, right?
Yes, sir.
What is this area?
Half into base into height, half into
25.
10 into 5,
25 meters.
What is the displacement traveled from 5 to 12? This
minus
area, right?
Minus 35.
And here if you look, this
Correct.
velocity is negative. This part is negative. So if I want to find the area of this triangle, what will that be? Half of base into height, right? Is that right? Half of base into height. Base is what? Base is this much, right? And height is this much. So I think this is your answer. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And to find the total displacement, net displacement traveled, what is that value? I think this value.
Yes, sir.
Is this clear to you? Is this very clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One final thing I will tell you. If you have this line, so you can clearly see that the slope is constant at every point. But if you have something like this, is the slope constant at every point?
Oh,
No, sir.
no, sir.
Slope is what? For any curve, what is the slope? The tangent at that point, right? सही है क्या? For any point, if I have this curve and I want to make the slope of this point, let's say at this point, the slope of all these points are different because it is not a straight line. The change is not uniform. Sometimes it is increasing, decreasing, whatever it is. If this was a straight line, we could have said that this is change is uniform. So the slope will be same at all the points. But here, the change is not uniform. The slope is not constant. If I want to make the slope at this point, it will be the tangent and this point. The tangent, a line touching this. You know what a tangent is, right?
Yes, a line that touches a curve or a circle at only one point.
That's it. This is your tangent. For point 1 and point 2, which slope is more? How do we know that? How do we know that which slope is more?
So like the largest slope will be inclined more toward the y-axis, right?
Right, correct. If you have these two lines, this and this, slope of this will be more, one will be more than two. Why? Because one, if what was slope basically? Slope was y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. If I choose, let's say this point as my x1 and this point, let's say as x2, the change in x for both of them is same. But if you look at the change in y, this y is changing only this much for y, for the second graph. Whereas for the first graph, y1 will be, y2 will be this value. So change in y is very much for 1. So I will say the slope of 1 is more than slope of 2. In this case, m1 is more than m2. M is the slope basically for these two graphs. If you look at this graph, which slope is more, 0.1 or 0.2?
0.1.
0.1 slope is more, right? And if I make 0.3 over here, this slope will be something like this. Which slope is more, 2 or 3?
2.
So as you are moving from point A to point B, if I make this displacement time graph, now what will this graph tell you? In this, the slope as you move from A to B, the slope is increasing or decreasing?
Decreasing.
Slope is decreasing. What about the displacement?
Displacement is it's
Increased, right?
yes, it's increasing in the beginning, but then at the end it
No,
sort
it
of
is
becomes
no.
flat.
Finally, what is happening to the net thing? It is
Net
always increasing as long as the slope is not going down. Let's say B is not going down; it is just horizontal. So here, if you look at this, displacement has increased, right? Displacement has increased, but the slope is decreasing, right? So can I say for this object means that the displacement is increasing, but the velocity is decreasing. Is that right?
yes, sir.
Is that fine? If I make few more graphs, suppose I make one V and T graph, and let's say the V and T graph looks something like this. What can you comment about this? Is your velocity increasing or decreasing? Tell me, you will tell me. Velocity increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Hmm?
Increasing.
Increasing. Okay. The slope of this graph is increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Is that clear to all of you? Here
Yes,
the
sir.
slope is something like this. Then the slope is something like this. Slope has increased, right? From this it is becoming this. Slope is increasing. If slope is increasing, what is the slope of VT graph?
Acceleration.
So what can I say? Can I say acceleration is increasing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the acceleration should be positive or negative? What do you think? Velocity is increasing.
Acceleration should be positive.
Acceleration is positive and it is increasing as well. Are these things very clear to you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Can I use my V is equals to U plus AT equation here?
No.
No,
I cannot use this. Why? Someone said yes. Why? This was only valid when acceleration is constant. It is not constant, right? It is increasing. Acceleration is variable. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Chalo, I'm just making few graphs like this. I told you a few things, right? That velocity is increasing, slope of the graph is increasing, so we can say acceleration is increasing. And because the velocity is increasing, because the velocity is increasing, I can say that acceleration is positive, and I can say that I cannot use these equations over here. Like this, whatever you can understand from that graph, just write about this. That is part of your homework. Okay. I'm just making few graphs. S is your displacement time graph. Think about them at home. This is your homework, and tell me what will happen to these graphs, or everything that you can comment about these graphs. Okay, do this is your homework. Next class we have to finish force and work power energy. So whenever your next class is, you practice as many questions of motion as you can. Solve these 4 questions, tell me about these, and then we will start your force and work per energy in the next class. Is that fine? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Chalo,
Yes,
then
sir.
you guys can leave.